I think it's if man. Yes, that's right. If, only if blah, blah, blah happened, then maybe Justin Herbert can win a playoff game. Just kidding, Chargers fans. We don't need to come in with all that negative energy, but we now have the 11-6 Los Angeles Chargers heading into the 2025 season with a lot of promise. Again, I think one of the biggest questions is, can Herbert win a playoff game? Are they going to take that next step? They've proven that, hey, Herbert's got a great arm. He's definitely one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league, but needs to start putting some things together at this point in the career. But I think this is a team that has a lot of optimism. Obviously, they got the khakis and Harbaugh year 2. Let's see what he can do. I mean,
Speaking of Harbaugh, did you see happen to see the drill that he had Herbert doing yesterday?
No, please, me. I can't wait.
So he had some sort of, I don't know if they were ladders or something, holding, or it may have just been other coaches, I don't know, holding up tarps. And you just see Harbaugh's little face in between the tarp. And evidently he was with one hand pointing to, like behind his back, which direction he wanted the wide receiver to come out from behind the tarp.
Right.
And then as soon as Herbert, he was supposed to deliver him the ball, but you just saw Harbaugh's little face with his glasses just pooping out.
I actually did see that, and now I'm gonna see if I can find a picture.
Absolutely hilarious.
Because that is very, very funny. So yes, wow, that is. I will pull that up later and try to find that, because now that you've said it, I did see it. I had no idea what it's from. I just saw the picture and I was like, oh my God.
Let's run through some additions and losses, and then while I'm giving my takes, see if you can find that.
I will find it. Yes, let's talk about these Los Angeles Harbaugh Chargers. And look, the running back room is going to look different. Loss of J.K. Dobbins now with the Broncos. Gus Edwards, a free agent. Lost a couple wide receivers. DJ Chark, Joshua Palmer now with the Bills. Hayden Hurst is gone, who kind of never really panned out. Joey Bosa finally separating ways there. Just injuries, and the expectation and the potential was there. It just really panned out. A couple defensive tackles gone, and then really some turnover in the cornerback room with Apple, Fulton, and Asante Samuel all moving on. Fulton now joining the Chiefs there. Additions. Looks like the UFL and the CFL will have to wait because Mr. Trey Lance is there to be QB number 3. I think he's 3 or 2. I don't even know is he the third string or the second string?
I have no idea, to be honest with you.
He is
he's the third string. He's behind Heineke.
I was gonna say, listen to his quarterback room. It's Justin Herbert, Taylor Heineke, Trey Lance, and DJ Ugalele.
Yeah.
Yikes. Hopefully Herbert stays healthy. Got a whole slew of running backs in Najee Harris, Nyheim Hines, and the big one, Omarion Hampton, coming from North Carolina. Trey Harris, second-round pick out of Ole Miss there. A couple tight ends. Gadsden's a sneaky guy out of Syracuse with that tight end room a little bit open to some competition. Bring in McConkey from the Eagles, Andre James from the Raiders, and then some defensive linemen in Akwe Jones and Deshaun Hand. And then they got to bring in some quarterbacks, so they left a bunch. And Dante Jackson, Brent St. Juste, and Tony Jefferson. A 5-12. Well, that's not correct. A 11-6.
There we go.
2024 record there.
Again, fire the graphics guy.
We will get on the intern. We are not going to do that to you. 11-6 Chargers coming in to this season with a win total of a 9.5 this year. Give me your takes. Let's see. Decent amount of changes here. Obviously, the running backs, wide receivers, defense, a lot of changes really all over the lineup. So how's this roster looking to you heading into this 2025 season?
Yeah, I mean, the running backs, J.K. Dobbins had kind of a return to glory year through the first half, 2/3 of the season, and then came down with some injuries towards the half and didn't end up going over the 1,000 yards. But from a wide receiver standpoint, I think that's where they've made the most changes to me. And I mean, they didn't have a ton of great wide receiver options last year, and they still have some question marks, in my opinion. I mean, anytime you have Quentin Johnston as your wide receiver 2, when I don't know if he knows how to hold a to this thing that we call football. I have some questions, but other than that, I mean, they still have one of the best offensive lines in the league, led by Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt. You bring in a guy like Becton that, again, kind of had a return to glory year after, being a tackle for his entire career, going to the Eagles and being moved to guard, and he had a hell of a year. Defensively, they still should be pretty solid, but definitely some major turnover when it comes to the cornerback position.
Hey, look, let's calm down with our Quentin Johnston slander, okay? Look at the stats. He actually didn't have a terrible year.
He didn't have a terrible year, and there's some stuff coming out from training camp that he is catching the football. I did see one drop as well, but it's fine.
Allegedly. But look, when you have this man looking at you, make sure that every detail is in place. You're gonna be able
right.
to figure it out.
Right.
There is a Harbaugh picture of him, and I guess in that drill, looking through the tarp, creeping through the window, and making sure his guys are doing the right thing there. Man, I love Harbaugh. He's such a funny guy. I love him.
Oh, no doubt.
So a lot of changes there, like you mentioned. The weapons past McConkey, you hit on it with Quentin Johnston, Trey Harris. They need to step up, frankly, because they got McConkey and then the expensive tight ends as well. There's not a lot of pass catcher viable options there. Anything that puts any fear in the defense, let's say that.
Sure.
Linebacking core is awesome with Deion Henley and Junior Colston there. And then you got Denzel Perryman and Troy Dye as well are not bad backups, and Tulapatu and Khalil Mack on the outside. Outside of that, though, interior defensive line, I mean, they've had trouble stopping the run for the past 5 years. And based on this roster, I don't see any massive improvements. I mean, they changed some guys out, but I'm not super optimistic there. And then the cornerback room, Dante Jackson, Cam Hart, Tarheeb Steele. A lot of unproven guys. Dante Jackson has trouble staying healthy, so I've got some question marks there. And I think the main thing is Justin Herbert gonna flip the switch a little bit? Is he gonna be able to kind of take the next step, especially in the postseason? I think is the major question. Let's talk injuries because they have a couple. The biggest one that we're going to talk about here comes as a little bit of 4th of July antics there with Najee Harris. A eye injury. They called it just a superficial eye injury. I mean, the news, you know how social media works. It went from, oh my goodness, Najee Harris blew his eye off, he's going to one-eyed pirate next season, to his agent be like, no, it's just like a small cut. He's fine. He'll be perfectly good to go. And then now, I mean, he's on the pup, and we kind of haven't heard much. And every day that he kind of goes without showing his face, the more and more questions are going to raise. So a bit of an unknown, but how do you see this Najee Harris situation?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was an interesting kind of sequence of events. You sign Najee Harris, and then a week or two later, you draft Omarion Hampton in the first round. And I mean, both of us are Najee fans. I mean, he's been an absolute stud his entire career when he was in Pittsburgh. He's never gone under 1,000 yards, but at the same time, you bring in a guy like Omarion Hampton, who's kind of the new toy to play with. And I would not be surprised if Omarion Hampton takes the horse by the reins in the first 2 or 3 weeks and really shows that he's a number one back. I mean, he's pretty much the RB2 going into the draft by most people's metrics. So running behind that offensive line, I would not be surprised if Omarion Hampton kind of shoulders the load. But at the end of the day, I do think they will work Najee in certain points. I
will say Harris on a 1-year deal for $5.25 million. Not the most money sunk into him. Still fully guaranteed, so they have some commitment, but nothing long term. So we'll see. Really should be kind of better what they think, but I do think at least early on they'll work them both in. But every day that passes, I mean, we need some clarity here on this eye situation. And then Cam Hart, cornerback out of Notre Dame, young player, had a labral repair at the end of last season. Should be go. He typically more of a 4 to 6 month expected recovery timeline. He's got 8.5 months from when he got the surgery on January 15th. So should be good. Just kind of something to monitor going into training camp. Any major concerns for Hart there?
Nope, not anything here. I think it's just one of those things that timeline wise works out. And from a cornerback standpoint, yes, you might reach up time to time to deflect a pass, but not all the time.
Yeah, and I mean, this is an example of a guy doing something smart that we'd recommend. Hey, I've got something. Let me just go ahead as soon as the season's over, like the day after they get knocked out of the playoffs. Let's get this fixed so it doesn't affect my next season. Will Levis, Tristan Wirfs probably should be taking notes here. All right, fantasy football world, we're coming at you. A couple guys I want to talk about here in the fantasy space, and that is pass catchers and Trey Harris. I think that he's someone who, he's healthy. He's going to be out there now. He's practicing. I liked him a lot at Ole Miss, and he had injuries issues a little bit on and off the field, but when he was out there, man, I mean, I remember a couple plays he made against my Gators. He's a solid receiver. Sure. I like Harris there. I do think that he has the ability to step up and be a little bit of a sleeper for them. So I do want to mention him. But the thing I want to spend time on is talking about, we kind of did, but the running back room, the Hampton versus Harris situation. I mean, right now everyone and their mother is on Hampton, and they want him to be the guy. But what say you? I mean, again, we are a little bit of Najee Harris fans, but what do you think the split is going to look like? And, when do you think Hampton's going to take over by week 4? Like, what's your prediction for this?
Yeah, I think overall, it'll be interesting to see when will we see Najee first is the first question. And if he does end up missing a couple of weeks here, how does Hampton play? Because if he really takes things by the reins and shows that he's an every down workhorse of a back, like Harbaugh's just going to keep feeding the
hot hand there.
Hot hand, exactly. So I don't know if Najee will necessarily get a fair chance if he misses the first few games. If he does, definitely see this being kind of a running back by committee type of team.
Yeah, I mean, you can basically get Najee for half the price of Hampton. Hampton going around RB 16 to 19, Harris going from 30 to 38 RB. So you can get Najee a lot cheaper, obviously, which makes sense. I mean, he is a little bit of a guy. So I still think there is some value in Najee Harris. I do think he is going to be heavily involved. He runs, he's kind of a little bit of 3 yards in a cloud of dust, which to many people that's frustrating. To Harbaugh, that's exhilarating and slightly probably turns him on. So, around the word. So, So I think that Najee is still going to be involved. The I thing does definitely throw a little bit of a wrench in this. So I'd probably hold off on clicking the Najee button until I at least get let me at least make sure your eye's not, popped out of your sock or anything crazy like that. Because they did just sign Nyheim Hines, so they haven't really been super forthcoming. But assuming the agent's correct and things are okay, I don't mind clicking the Najee Harris button pretty late in the draft there. All right, let's move on over to the betting space. Again, the 11-6 Chargers coming in from last year. 9.5 win total. Can get pretty much minus 110 either way there. Futures wise, they are minus 130, minus 140 to make the playoffs, plus 110, plus 115 to miss. To win the AFC West, anywhere from plus 280 to plus 310. To win the AFC, anywhere from 11 to 14 to 1. And then to win the Bowl, anywhere from 25 to 28 to 1 there for your Los Angeles Chargers. What say you, my friend? Where are you at with this team?
Yeah, I think the team ultimately takes a little bit of a step back, to be honest with you. I mean, we talked about it before. I mean, this division is pretty damn good anymore. I mean, you have 4 of the best coaches in the league
Right.
at the helm in one division. So just within the division, you're looking at 6 pretty tough games. But then you also have the Chargers facing up with Washington. I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota's defense can kind of keep them reined in a little bit. They have to
Yeah.
play Pittsburgh, they have to play Philly, they have to play Dallas and Houston. So, I mean, they have a pretty tough schedule, and I think the Raiders are taking a little bit of a step forward, and you still have the Broncos and Chiefs in your division, who were both playoff teams last year. So I think they've made a lot of moves, but I don't necessarily think it's gonna equate to more wins. From a running back standpoint, you might have gotten a little bit of an upgrade, but everywhere else, I think you've probably downgraded, to be honest with you.
Okay, so you're going under 9.5 wins there for the Chargers at -110.
Yep.
Okay, I'll pick it back off that a little bit. I'm gonna fade them in a little bit of a different way. Give me the Los Angeles Chargers to finish third in the AFC West at +210 over on DraftKings. I think they're a better team than the Raiders, although I do agree the Raiders are improved. I think they're worse teams than the Broncos and the Chiefs, which we'll get to here in a little bit. But I mean, that's in this most simplistic way. I mean, this kind of made sense for me for them to be at third. I didn't target the win total because, like last year, I could see 3 teams again getting double-digit wins, and they get 10-7, and the Broncos whatever, and the Chiefs whatever. But so I didn't. I think they're right around there for me. Anywhere from 8 to 11 wins. I think I would be like, yeah, that is in the realm of possibility for this team.
Sure.
So I just am higher on the other 2 teams in the division. So giving them to finish third place at +210. Different way of fading them with a little bit less money. Obviously, a lot more to take into consideration. But
yep.
We'll get to it. But I really kind of I have a pretty strong feelings on this Chiefs and Broncos team.
Yeah, no, I like that, and I'll probably add that to my slate as well. What do you have as
wise?
Yeah, I have Omarion Hampton over 1,000 yards.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about this running back by committee with Hampton and Harris, and honestly, I would not be surprised if both of them have pretty good years.
Right.
I just think that Hampton will ultimately have a better year than Najee Harris. So, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Hampton has, 1,100 yards and Harris has 750, just because, we know Jim Harbaugh likes to run the rock. I mean, he famously ran the ball, I think it was like 32 times with Michigan against Penn State. So it's like, got 2 stud running backs and a pretty damn good offensive line, lacking in the wide receiver position.
Yeah,
I think both of these guys have pretty good years, and I'm going to go with Hampton having over 1,000 at 2-1.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think it's a pretty safe bet that the Los Angeles Chargers are going to have some of the highest carries in the league. Yes. They're going to run the ball, the most. So I like it. Then obviously is the more explosive guy, the guy with more quote unquote potential. Right. Najee, someone who's a little bit going to be more of that bruiser and change of pace there. So I liked it from Hampton. And then we at least know he has 2 eyeballs. So that's a good start. The guy I'm going to target in
the chance of hitting the right hole.
Right. There you go. I'm going to go after a guy you picked on a little bit earlier to start this. And that's Mr. Quentin Johnston.
Okay.
Look, I as everybody does, like to make fun of the dropsies and yada, yada, yada. Let's not look at his catch to target ratio, but let's just look at his touchdowns here. I'm going Quentin Johnston, 5+ receiving touchdowns at +110 over at DraftKings. He had 8 touchdowns to lead the team in receiving touchdowns last season.
Yep.
Dude's a big target.
Massive.
And, he's 6'2", 208. The tight end position is up in the air with Disley, Conklin, Gadsden. There's no for sure thing. Like, he clearly was the red zone target for Justin Herbert. And partially due to lack of having anybody else, he's going to be out on the field and get all of the snaps as that wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. So I like his ability to be a big target in the red zone. And again, I mean, he's coming off an 8 touchdown season there. Really like him to get to 5. I think that's a very doable number for him because Herbert is going to be able to throw some touchdowns. And I mean, as much as we like to make fun of him, I mean, he almost doubled his yards and tripled his or quadrupled his touchdown count under the teaching and tutelage of Harbaugh last season. So, I mean, I think he's just going to continue to be an effective wide receiver. I did not go after the yards because, again, he might drop a couple easy ones. But it seems like in the red zone, puts it on a little bit and hangs on to the ball. So,
wrangle it in.
Give me Johnston, 5+ receiving touchdowns there.
Okay.
The Los Angeles Chargers, well, for the 2025 season, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. Derek's taking the under 9.5 wins on this team with a lot of changeover. Not sure this roster is better than last season. And I'm going to be taking them 3rd place in the division at plus 210. Just do not see them at the same level as the Broncos and the Chiefs right now. He is a fan of Omarion Hampton, thinks he's going to get over 1,000 yards at 2-1. And I like Quentin Johnston. Forget the haters, because the man can hold on to the ball in the red zone. Give me 5+ touchdowns at plus 110. That is how we see it breaking down for this Los Angeles Chargers squad and the Harbaughs in 2025. All right, before we move on to our next squad, we're going to be talking about the plus.com. Obviously, our flagship site there. We want you to go check it out because we want you to check it out. But really, we want you to get a leg up. We want you to make sure, whether it's in fantasy, the betting space, that we're helping you out, helping you get that leg up against your competitors. Just like these teams are putting in work in the offseason, you need to put in the work in the offseason. Get these articles, get these videos, absorb this content, and understand and make yourself the best fantasy player, the best football fan that you can be. And you got to do that by going over to idpplus.com, join our subscribers-only Discord, and get access to subscribers-only content so we can talk to you football 24/7, 365.
Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.